SmokiesBaseball.com.
Life never stops moving, and between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, a tire designed for doers, a tire that's going to last, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. And here at Rather & Kittrell, we understand that life is full of transitions. Since 2000, our team of dedicated certified financial planners has been helping individuals, families, and businesses navigate these changes with confidence. From comprehensive wealth management to tailored retirement plans, we're committed to guiding you toward a secure financial future. Ready to take the next step? Visit rkcapital.com or call us at 865-218-8400 to start your journey today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Summer officially starts this month, and the last thing you want during sweltering heat is a broken air conditioner or HVAC system. That means it's more important than ever to keep you and your family comfortable and safe before extreme Tennessee temperatures arrive. Don't ignore the warning signs that your AC is struggling or nearing the end of its lifespan. And if you need emergency HVAC repairs, routine preventative maintenance, or want to invest in a new system, then call the trusted HVAC experts at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. This month, get up to a $1,000 discount when you buy and install a new air conditioner or HVAC system. We make it easy with free on-site estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing with credit approval. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job or ready for a new challenge? Do you feel like it's time to try a new career? Well, it's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. My friends at TLD Logistics have some really exciting opportunities for you to learn a new skill. With a new 5-acre driving academy that's now under new leadership with all new course material. And the best part, it's absolutely free. What a great deal to set you on the road to higher pay. And TLD Logistics even offers weekly stipends to offset food and gas expenses. In 6 weeks' time, you could complete this course and be in compliance with FMCSA regulations. Then you're ready for the open road of opportunity. What are you waiting for? It's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. Visit tldlogistics.com. That's tldlogistics.com. TLD Logistics.
A lime is not always just a lime. You see, some limes are lucky. For when a lime joins the salted rim of a crisp, refreshing Tres Dos Equis, that lime is no longer a mere lime, but a wedge of renowned Mexican limón. Muchas gracias, limón. And also, de nada. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon and go Vols.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency.
At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama Zizi approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and Zizi.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good. You know, a wise old coach told me one time as I welcome you back that fans think it's all about the athletes, the players, this and that. Really, like a lot of things in life, it's about the people that you meet along the way. It's about the relationships you make. And I'll tell you something about our next guest, Mike Rooney. When you watch him on ESPN talk about college baseball, and you see the infectious love that this guy projects for that sport. Like, we just spent our last segment ripping the Twidiots. And Twidiots, I love you. I have like a love-hate relation. I love how passionate you are. I hate that it's kind of misplaced, but hey, you do you, I'll do me. Mike Rooney loves the sport of college baseball. And he joins us now. And I don't know how many interviews he's done this week, or I mean, he just loves the sport of college baseball. Along with Chris Burke this past weekend, undeniable, unbelievable fun watching them on the squeeze play. And Mike Rooney, how many hours? I don't know if you even total it up. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, into Monday. How many hours did you guys log in 4 days?
Yeah, it's probably like 45 hours, but I don't say that like I'm looking for a prize, right? It's like the thing it reminds me of, that squeeze play deal, is it reminds me of like being in my early to mid 20s and going to sports bars on Sundays with my buddies, and just, you know, like you're single and there's no reason to go home. But it is so awesome. I mean, it really is. It's like 45 hours of college baseball, and we've got every game on, and it's I mean, you're just toast by the end. But it's my wife has always said I'm sports obsessed, and so it's perfect for me.
Well, my wife has this thing with me, like, because we do post-game shows that'll go 6-7 hours, you know, sometimes. I don't take a break, so I just sit there and just take call after call after call. No commercial breaks. It's true. That's nuts. She'll come down and look at me and go, get off the air, because I start getting to the point where anything's about to come out of my mouth.
That's right.
And that's where you guys are. You guys, like, you start out, you're kind of, you know, we're dialed in. We have our nice clothes on. By the end, my tie's a little looser. I'm slumped down in my chair. I'm kind of exhausted. You kind of lean into it. Berkey spilled soda all over Kyle Peterson said Berkey shot a soda all over your socks over the weekend. He was telling people that. I don't know whether that's true or not. You guys sit there and crack on each other. Meanwhile, what happens in these baseball games in the late innings, the fireworks all over the place, the insane regional weekend we just witnessed. Man, what a great sport college baseball is.
Yeah, I agree. And it was, Berkey said this beautifully. we were obviously asked her, reactions. And it just, I think in all college sports, and baseball is right in this area where you just feel like, man, are we never going to have parity again? And then you see the basketball tournament where there was just no Cinderellas. And, the SEC's been so dominant in baseball. We've all been saying, this is the SEC's tournament until further notice. 5 straight national champions, 5 different teams, 6 of the last 7. We haven't had a non-SEC team even in the finals since 2019. But this weekend was obviously different. 4 different number 4 seeds upset the hosts in game 1 of the regional, which is bonkers when you think about that. You think about Murray State winning the Oxford regional. That was amazing. And now we have a Missouri Valley, as Tennessee fans know, we have a Missouri Valley team in super regionals for the 4th time in 5 years. And that's wild to say out loud. And, the Little Rock story, they were 19-32, headed into their conference tournament. They didn't even qualify for Little Rock was 8-16 in the Ohio Valley. I mean, just think about that for a second. 8-16 in the Ohio Valley Conference, and then they're playing LSU at the box in Game 7 of a regional with a lead late in the game, and you're like, "What are we even watching here?" It was just, to your point, it was so awesome.
And I love it. And your infectious spirit about it is wonderful. Some of the scenes, the sights and the scenes, and I was talking about the Cincinnati manager crying over the 5th-year
cool
kid. Oh, my God. It's one of my favorite things I've ever seen. But John Adams wants to share something. Now, John's been a columnist here in Knoxville for as long as I've been here. And I've been on the air 30 years, and he got here 10 years before me. So probably 40-ish years. John, share with Mike Rooney of ESPN what you were just telling us off the air regarding the Liam Doyle, that scene. Go ahead, John.
Sure, and I can appreciate what Mike's saying about, because I really had no interest in college baseball for the longest time. It's only after Tony Vitello came here that sparked my interest, and I realized there was a growing fan interest, so I started writing about it more, and now I love watching the sport. I like watching the NCAA baseball tournament as much or more than I do the NCAA basketball tournament now. And part of it has to do with the atmosphere, the attitude. When I was watching that game Monday night with Tennessee and Wake Forest, Liam Doyle, I was fascinated. I just haven't seen many things like that in college sports. He was so into this. And here's a guy, it's so contradictory what we think about college sports now, because as so many people say, it's all about the money. Not just coaches and programs, but players too. And here's Liam Doyle. He's demanding to pitch, even though he just pitched a few days early. Demanding. He's not thinking about his stock in the MLB draft. He's not thinking about his career. He's got to protect his arm. He is just totally immersed in the game itself and the joy of it. And that guy was just he was in an altered state and just running around after the game. And then you couple that with Andrew Fisher, the SEC's leading home run hitter, goes up to the plate, turns around the crowd, and he's motioning for everybody to stand up or yell louder. And he's doing all this, and he gets in the batter's box and hits a home run. I thought about Babe Ruth calling his shot. I think he was against the Cubs or somebody, calling his shot and then hitting a home run in his final days. So, yeah, that was just an amazing. Liam Doyle, he reminds me a lot of former Florida quarterback Tim Tebow. Just wants to win so much and is so into the game and into the sport. It was just a really fun thing to watch. My wife was watching it too. She enjoyed that more than anything she's seen in college sports in a while.
I love that. And I think Liam Doyle and Andrew Fisher are interesting kids because they're, like if you were going to try and put them in a bucket, you'd miss them. You'd miss the beauty of who they are. Like I think if I'm admitting this, when they went to Tennessee, it was, hey, 3 schools in 3 years that's not my favorite thing, right? Like that upsets the coach in me. But, they're both really insightful kids in a different way. I mean, I think I heard the other day that Andrew Fisher's mom is a professor at Princeton, and, he started at Duke. He's a really bright kid who's a phenomenal player, who has a really interesting game. And then Liam Doyle, same thing. I love the way he always takes the high road. When you hear him speak, he speaks with great gratitude towards Coastal Carolina, Ole Miss, as schools that, took a chance on a kid from New Hampshire. And, he has blossomed in this, when Liam Doyle went to Tennessee in the off season, at least I'll speak for myself. I was not saying, oh, this is going to be Paul Skeens part 2, right? I was saying, hey, this is a kid with a great arm who's got an ERA of 5.5 for 2 years, and let's see. And it's just been a perfect marriage for them. And and you mentioned, Tony, the Tony Vitello deal, and it's just, Dave Serrano, I coached against him. That guy was a hell of a coach. He took 2 different programs to Omaha, but for whatever reason, it was not clicking for him in Knoxville. And I think Tony Vitello, I think I've probably said this to you guys before, all of us in college baseball owe Tony a lot in that, the Tennessee program's explosion and the embracing of the program by the fan base, this is something that has grown the entire enterprise. And, the style of celebration of play might not be what I would choose if I was coaching, but that doesn't matter. It's engaging. It's the fact that it forces people to have an opinion. Hey, you either love it or you don't love it is actually part of the genius of it and the beauty of it. So, of course, this weekend, that Super Regional in Fayetteville will be, I was saying to Berkey, they should hand out, instead of you get a souvenir cup when you get in the game, they should actually hand out football helmets when people go into that Fayetteville Super Regional. It's going to be nuts.
Well, the funny thing is, I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday, his Major League background, right? And he said, I've made peace with, he was in the game 20 years in Major Leagues. And sort of like what Chipper Jones was saying, those guys that are used to their level of ball, which is a little more staid, a little more sort of austere, are not going to relate to a game where, and Chipper Jones was talking about this, Georgia has their uniform half off, which I agree with Chipper Jones. I think you should wear your uniform and kind of look like you sort of respect where you are. I don't think you should talk to your opponents as much as these kids do. You and I are about the same age. Back in our day, if you would have done some of the things that these guys do with pitchers and the bat flipping, the next time you come up, you're in the hospital. I mean, that's just, you're getting a ball just absolutely, you're going to get some chin music and probably get hit, and that's just the way it was. But you bring up an interesting point, because my friend comes at me yesterday with this. He said, college baseball is a great game because the exit velos on the ball is just flying around out there. But then you get a mix of, it's got one part wrestling in it. And in the wrestling thing, you get the heels and the baby face. And you either cheer for the heels or you cheer for the baby face. And I think that's kind of what Tony's introduced into this deal. And you know what? That's not a bad thing. That's like you're saying, that is not a bad thing.
Yep, totally agree. It's whether you like it or not, you have to, it kind of forces you to have an opinion, and it fits perfectly with the SEC. And I do think, and it's kind of like Fisher and Doyle, what does get missed because the entertainment value of it is so high is I really do think Tony Vitello is somewhat of a baseball savant when it comes to running a college baseball program. He's clearly the son of a coach, and he's coached in, he's worked for some of the best, like Dave Van Horn, Jim Schlossnagle, et cetera. I think his experience at Missouri is very underrated in that, he was there when they were going to 7 straight regionals, and there were guys like Max Scherzer and Ian Kinsler there. But I think Tony is very, very bright, but because he projects, the emotion and, he's handsome and he's the perfect, like you just said, he's the perfect WWE character. But man, he really has tremendous feel for winning college baseball. And, that goes back to the staff he hired. It goes back to the adjustments they've made. This season has been trickier because, I think I heard him quoted recently where he said getting off to the crazy fast start probably was not, it was like a blessing and a curse. It was, obviously you want to win games and gain confidence when you lose great players like Christian Moore and Blake Burke, but it was a curse because it became a feeling of invincibility when deep down everybody knew this was a team that had some areas to work on. All that said, they may be the most talented team in the country. I think they actually are. Whether that amounts to, winning a series in Fayetteville this weekend and advancing to Omaha, we'll see. I do think, though, that whoever wins this Super Regional in Fayetteville will definitely have a say in who wins the national championship in Omaha. I don't see the winner of this series going to Omaha and going 0-2. That feels basically impossible to me.
Wow, them's fighting words right there from Mike Rooney of ESPN, who, again, Matt Dixon, who will jump in here now, considers this guy maybe just, no pressure on you, Rooney, the most authoritative voice on college baseball today. And Berkey, we love you. You know Chris Burke. Hey,
dig it, Berkey.
Hey, Matt Dixon, jump in here with Mike Rooney on the program.
Yeah, Mike, we all know you and Chris Budden kind of carry squeeze play when that thing's on. So Arkansas has been so good for so long, especially at home in the regular season against SEC teams. And now they're in the postseason where they had some struggles recently, and that home field environment kind of works against them in a weird way the last couple of years. What do you think happens with an SEC team going back in there, having just played there about a month ago in this hostile environment, but it's in the postseason? I just think that how that dictates, that's going to go a long way towards deciding who wins. And obviously, if Tennessee gets off to a good start, that will really put a lot of pressure on the home team.
Yeah, I think, I would say there's a lot of variables in play this weekend. I mean, it's such a high-powered series. I think, for Arkansas, I think all what we saw last weekend, all these series, like the name of the game is, can you create a game and a series that plays to your strengths and minimizes your demons, right? Like that's the name of the game. Like can the way, what do they call it in football? Game scripts, right? Like can the way the series plays out, can you keep your warts to a minimum? Because every team has them. There's no perfect teams. We don't even really have a super team this year, like we've had in past years. So, I think for Arkansas, there will be pressure, right? Like that is a fact. What you said, that 3 of their last 4 seasons, 3 of them have ended in the postseason on their home field. Like they will feel that pressure. The coaches, the players. I think that's unavoidable. Another thing in Tennessee's favor is I think it's very difficult to beat the same team in 2 different weekend series in the same season. Like I think that in Tennessee will have great comfort. Wow. Going to Fayetteville because they've been there, like now it will be uncomfortable because it's a crazy place to play. But I also think I think the part that gets missed in all that is Arkansas is demonstrably better, in my opinion, than those last several teams. Dave Van Horn has even said so. Like this offense is significantly better. They almost felt like they pitched so well the last several years that they were able to just get their position player group to be good enough. And then that got exposed in the postseason. This Arkansas team is much more balanced and complete. So I think this is a different Arkansas team than the 3 that got clipped in the postseason at home before. But I also think that the team that they're playing, Tennessee, is scarier. Like no offense to NC State in 2021, who was awesome. Kansas State was just on a heater last year. The TCU, same thing a couple years ago, they were just hot. This Tennessee team is like legit, could win the whole thing. So yeah, again, like I think both teams have their hands full in a super fun way. I just can't wait to see it play out.
Watching like the squeeze play over the weekend, One thing seems apparent, and I saw Clemson. You know, these teams that have the history of kind of coming up short in their building, and the crowd gets used to it in sort of a classical conditioning kind of way. I think about my Phillies in the postseason in recent years, the Atlanta Braves for many, many years, and people that go to those games say there's that hush that goes over the crowd. Because I'll never forget, Rooney, when you set me up 4 years ago with that Notre Dame deal, and you came on. It's about 4 years ago. You come in here and I'm from there and I played there. And we have no chance. We're going to get blown out. And, I mean, you completely Lou Holtz to me. You have me so fooled.
Oh, that's great.
And in fact, we even call it around here doing a Rooney. Like when people try to do that to no offense to you. But
no worries.
What happened that day, I was talking to Evan Russell, who I call the captain of the Vols, yesterday. And we were kind of unpacking that deal, hoping that happens to Arkansas this weekend. He said on that Sunday, in the middle innings, when they took the lead on us and hit that home run, he said literally you could feel the crowd, a murmur, and everybody starts grabbing their bat tighter. He said, I'm just going to admit that. He said, it's not the crowd's fault. He said, we got beat. We didn't execute. We didn't play. We didn't get the key hits. We didn't get the timely hits. He said, but that pressure as the innings draw and kind of march on, like with that LSU deal the other night, like you just so astutely pointed out, they're playing a team from Little Rock who, if that's a midweek game, they beat them 25-5. You know what I mean? Like, but because it's in that spot, because we lost to them the night before, because the pressure is just there, everything is magnified. Every pitch is magnified. Every swing and miss is magnified. And then it just keeps growing, and it keeps growing. And that is such a unique thing about this sport too, right? With these kids, how young they are and how they handle the pressure.
And it's a lot. Yeah, it's significant. And they, I think the other part of it is like the players are so close. Like it's literally like being on a team with family members, and they, I think many times these players look at their head coaches and assistant coaches almost like father figures, and so like you don't want to disappoint them. And like to your point, they're still young in life. They're still 20, 21, 22. That's you still haven't processed everything, and so all the emotion. It's awesome. It's so cool, but. It is. I will tell you guys, like this weekend, to me, I think it's more pressure to play in a super regional in college baseball than it is to play in Omaha. Because in Omaha, you've already won, if that makes sense. Like I know, like even if, like these programs, Tennessee, Arkansas, they're desperate to win national titles, but still, like deep down in your gut, if your season ends in Omaha, it was an awesome season. Your season ends in a super regional, and it's a lifetime of heartache. Like it is. So important to the college baseball person to get to Omaha. Losing in the super regional is the gut punch of a lifetime, and it's so short, right? It's 3 games, and so this weekend it's hyper pressurized, and it's the level of play will be incredible. Though these are great players, and the scenes in Fayette will be bonkers.
Who has the advantage?
I would say. It's interesting. I picked Arkansas to win the national title, but if I was going to pick a winner for this weekend, I probably would pick Tennessee because I am concerned about what we just talked about. I'm concerned about the pressure on Arkansas. I'm concerned about how difficult it is to beat the same team twice in the same season. I would say, like, I'm curious to see how Tony lines up his pitching. Like, does he give Doyle an extra day and throw him in game 2? Does he just put him on Saturday? Arkansas did not exploit Marcus Phillips' struggles with the running game in the previous series. That's not really their jam.
Right.
Do they try to do a better job of that this time? So I think I like Arkansas better on paper. Being at home is part of that, but I have a gut feel about Tennessee that I just can't get past. So, I think Arkansas can win the national title. They were my pick. But if you put a gun to my head this weekend, I think I would pick the Vols.
That's so wild. Panel, any final thoughts for the great, and I do mean you bow thy head when you say thy name, Mike Rooney, even though he lulled me to sleep several years ago, set us up, and got us right between the eyes. And Matt Dixon, that's exactly what Rooney did, isn't it? When Link Jarrett brought that group in here, that we'll never forget that. He might be doing it again.
Link deserves the credit for that, not me. Link, that dude's that good at coaching college baseball.
You might be doing it again for all I know right now here. But go ahead, Matt.
Well, just that Notre Dame team was like the perfect opponent to come in and take advantage of Tennessee. And you had the Drew Gilbert blow up and Frank getting ejected.
Yep.
Tennessee beat themselves, but that Notre Dame team was so veteran and had played in Starkville the year before in a super. They were battle tested and ready for it. They might have been the only team that could have won that weekend in Knoxville. But on the way, do you think Link Jarrett wins a national title like in the next couple of years? Because I just think that feels really inevitable.
I agree. I don't know. Like next couple of years is, I don't know if I would put that short of a time frame on it, but I think for sure, he's obviously a great coach, and Florida State is a great place to, coach college baseball. But Link is also like obsessed with winning a national title because his mentor and his coach was Mike Martin. And that's the ding on the late Mike Martin's resume is he never won a national title. And Link really takes that personally because he played at Florida State for 4 years. And I think 3 of his 4 teams went to Omaha. And Link feels like his teams let Mike Martin down. Like they should have won one of those. So it is interesting when you talk to Link. He's a baseball savant for sure, but almost baseball Rain Man. But it's real personal for him to win one, and I think they will. I don't think this is the team to do it, and that boy, they have their hands full. Like their super regional in Corvallis is going to be. I think it's the other one counter to Fayetteville that's just an outrageously good matchup. But I think I don't know when it'll happen, but I think Link Jarrett will win a national title for sure.
And the funny thing is, Tony was on with us. Right before NCAA tournament, he was talking about Rick Barnes. He said, look, Rick Barnes, his bugaboo, the Final Four, getting past the Elite Eight. He said, this is a guy that deserves a few breaks. He said, if it's not for the fact that we get the door opened up for us by Florida State, we go home. We don't win that national championship last year. And that's one thing I love about Tony is that very few guys, like after they win one, will come out and say, hey, we needed some help. We needed some breaks. And his thing was, if you're going to win one of these, you've got to get breaks. And that's such an interesting thing about all these sports, man. They're played on a razor's edge. It's just it's going to be a really, really great weekend of baseball. Anything else you'd care to add here on the way out? And, man, I enjoy your stuff. I love a guy – when I can tell somebody's not faking it, really loves what they're doing, loves the kids, loves the sport, you make fans. You said that Tennessee makes fans. I think people like you make fans. People like Chris Burke make fans. When I hear Tom Hart on the air celebrating the sport, I think that makes fans. So congratulations to all you guys.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for, and I'll end with this. Thank you for keeping our boy Berkey in line. And to Tennessee fans, if we don't have at least one Tennessee fan I need a Tennessee fan to accuse Berkey of being an Arkansas homer this weekend.
Yes.
If that doesn't happen, I'll be really bummed about that. I'm kidding, of course.
Well, let me tell you this. On the way out, our Twidiots will always rise to that occasion. Because you got a few of our Twidiots out there that are always telling Berkey that he's not vol enough, he's not this, now behind the scenes. You tell these people how big of a Tennessee fan Berkey is. You talk about a guy proud of his program now.
Oh my gosh! And also like Tennessee sports, like if you take a shot at Rick Barnes, if you try to intimate that Peyton Manning was a better quarterback, or if you try to intimate that Tom Brady was a better quarterback than Peyton Manning, you better have an hour of your life available because Berkey he'll start rolling up his sleeves and getting the laptop out. Yes, Berkey he has a job to do in this world, but man, like nobody loves Tennessee sports like Chris Burke.
And that is the truth. And that's why I love when those morons attack him. And so I agree with Rooney. Even if you're not a moron and you're just listening, you really need to rake Berkey over the coals this weekend. Let him have it. Hey, thanks, brother. Great talking to you.
All right, you guys. Enjoy the weekend.
Hey, thank you. You too. Mike Rooney. And, Matt, the truth is, the closer we get to this thing, and visiting with a couple Tennessee kids last night, these guys are, how do I put this? These kids are really loose. And they should be, Matt. This is a real opportunity for a team that all of a sudden feels like they're, if John,
they finally feel like a Vitello team.
There you go.
And that's what came out Monday. In a weird way, getting beat and having to face elimination for the first time all year, and to do it at home in a weird way that might actually help them. Even though they had to, use Doyle and it might throw off your pitching lineup, but it just felt like that. They felt like a vintage Vitello team really for the first time all year. Monday during that game with the emotions and all that, and they need to play. One of Vitello's strengths, he's got so many, but getting his guys to play loose in these key moments and in these clutch moments in the postseason, that's already the case. And I especially think it'll be the case this weekend because you really have nothing to lose. Arkansas's a little. I think Arkansas is a better team, and they've played a whole lot better than Tennessee this year, which is why they're hosting. But Tennessee's more than capable of winning. My only hope is I just hope Tennessee doesn't go out there and beat themselves like they have so many times this year. Make Arkansas earn it if they're going to beat you twice.
I'll tell you, and John, you referenced this earlier, the last time Tennessee played there, which, by the way, Matt's getting to go. He's going to cover it for us. That is as comfortable or as cool of a scene at Arkansas as you will see. And Tennessee looked so comfortable, John, when they played there a few weeks back. Comfortable with the bats. Bargo was extremely comfortable with the bat in his hands. They looked so comfortable in that in that series, and that's got to make you feel good about Tennessee's chances.
Well, Tony, I was talking to Chris Burke a couple of days ago, and he talked about that series. He was on site for that series. He'll be there again this weekend for Tennessee and Arkansas. We're talking about what a great atmosphere it is there in Fayetteville. They've got a really nice park, and it was packed for Tennessee. He talked about how festive an atmosphere it was. I think it's the kind of atmosphere that Tennessee players embrace. I kind of think there's it's an away game, but I think a lot of these Tennessee guys like the challenge of being on the road, and then they have that challenge plus the fact that the atmosphere is the fans are so into this thing. I think a big crowd, a loud crowd, will bring out the best in Tennessee. And one of a really interesting point Chris Burke made, I thought, when we were talking about, and he thinks Tennessee is, he thinks Arkansas might be the best team in the country. He liked Arkansas and North Carolina the most, and he puts LSU and Tennessee next in line. But he thought with Tennessee, because of the kind of season it had, it lost 5 of its last 6 SEC series. And as you mentioned, it didn't always play well. And Matt talked about don't beat yourself. Well, Tennessee's beaten itself sometimes. But what Burke pointed out was that when you get into this tournament, if something happens that doesn't usually happen to you, say an Arkansas player, North Carolina player, LSU player, say they botch a ground ball. They haven't done that all season, and they do it. It can have a real traumatic effect on a team. It's like, what's going on? That's not what we do. Whereas Tennessee has had things like that happen all year. It's botched ground balls. It's made errant throws. It's made those kind of mistakes that are seemingly routine plays that they couldn't handle. So they won't be impacted that way if there is a mistake, the way some other teams might be who aren't accustomed to those kind of plays.
This is really going to be fun. And Matt's right. In a weird way, Matt, Tennessee had to get stretched to Monday night to pull that out of them. because this thing they feel like they're alive. And the person I talked to last night said, "Hey, after the game, we were just like at what Doyle did. We felt just like such a tight-knit group. We just felt like, wow, boy, if we could go back out there and play right now, let's do it." And because, John, that was an exemplary thing that we saw the other night. That was ain't gonna be like that way. It ain't gonna be that way every night. The crowd that was totally into the game. The guy walked out there, and like as my buddy said, it's like it's got a little part wrestling to it. You know, you got a guy playing to the crowd, screaming and yelling at the crowd, hitting a home run, and then the other guy, his teammate that came up with him, who he roomed with last year, comes out of the pen, and I mean is smoking. They were not touching him, John. They weren't touching him.
Well, I think, you know, Tony, we say Tennessee's been very good in a lot of different sports recently. Making the Elite Eight the last 2 years in men's basketball. The football team made the college football playoff. But, you know, just in terms of interest going into this series, I feel more interested in. I'm so looking forward to this series as much as I am, and I do this all the time, you know, so, and you do too. We all do, but I'm so accustomed. It's just routine, big game, big series. But I feel differently about this series. I wish it was starting tomorrow, because I'm so looking forward to it. Part of that has to do with how Tennessee finished off Wake Forest, and I thought Wake Forest played really well. It just happened to lose, but I mean it was so dramatic, so theatrical almost, that it's really got me like, oh my gosh, what's coming next? That's kind of how I feel about this series. And I think, you know, talking about the pressure of a super regional, I think that's very real. It's just like the Elite Eight in the NCAA tournament. You're almost there. I remember all those Lady Vols teams that won national championships, 8 national titles in women's basketball. They would get to that Elite Eight, and they felt more pressure then than they did any other season. And I think Pat Summitt felt more pressure at that moment than she did in any other game, much more so than a Final Four. It's like if you make the Final Four, you've arrived. If you make the College World Series, as Mike Rooney just told us, you've already won. But if you don't, it's like heartbreak forever. But I don't think this Tennessee team feels pressure. I think when you look at the season, and you know, I don't think Tennessee feels like it's supposed to win the national championship. Just look at its seeding. It's not supposed to. Now, when it won 22 straight games to start the year, it looked like it was going, oh, here we go again. But that was you know, fake. It wasn't real. It wasn't as good as it looked. But now, so I don't think Tennessee feels pressure or will feel pressure going into the series. I think Arkansas will feel a lot more pressure.
Well, we're about to ratchet it up here because on the other side, VFL, Taylor Smart, who also coached at Arkansas, so knows from whence he speaks, played baseball here, is going to join us. We're going to get his perspective on this deal. Chef No Chef, a.k.a. Heflin's going to join us as well. But listen anyway, when Heflin jumps in here, we're going to have a great segment coming up for you. And I think John's right. The pressure is squarely on Arkansas' shoulders. And I mean to tell you, those people are going to be loud and proud. And we're going to unpack some of that with Taylor Smart in terms of just what a difficult place that is to play, and for Tennessee to try to get through there as we continue with more on the other side right after this.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first night of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club team start at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we are the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our trials last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Listen up, baseball fans. It's time to step up to the plate and get some new Tennessee gear from Alumni Hall. Don't you dare swing and miss by shopping elsewhere. Alumni Hall has the best selection, top brands for you to choose from. Shop in store, 3 Knoxville locations, or Bristol or Murfreesboro. Anytime online, anywhere in the world at alumnihall.com. Come grab your Tennessee baseball jerseys. Incredible. Oh, Coach Vitello's jersey, hats, decals, t-shirts, and so much more. Earn $10 in rewards for every $150 spent. Shop Alumni Hall, your ultimate Tennessee shopping destination. Go Vols from Alumni Hall. Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care, I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting because every customer counts, and I mean no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you, not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to Connexial, your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, you'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly US-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With Connexial, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call Connexial today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at Connexial.com. That's Konexial.com. Drive life with Connexial and go Vols.
Basilio here, and my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair. And they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms. And I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Yeehaw! Some people say betting online is still the wild, wild west. But with the VIP Play app, you're riding with the best. VIP Play app is hotter than a $2 pistol packed with flair. Live hosts and features finer than a frog hair. Send your old betting problems out of town with a slap. You'll be betting sharp as a tack on the VIP Play app.
Don't be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather & Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
TB back with you. I bow thy heed when I say thy name. Chef Not Chefson here, a.k.a. Will Heflin. Will Heflin, I would like you to introduce our next guest here that will join us on the show and work on your chops, your broadcasting chops, because you and Matt Dixon make a great pair on Garza Law Extra Innings, which will come your way after Saturday night's game, Sunday afternoon's game, and I think Tennessee will play right into Monday. I think it's going to be a 3-game series and a thriller, not in Manila. So against that backdrop, bring our next guest here on the TLD Logistics Hotline on our Thursday edition, where John Adams is presented by Jennifer Morris, NextMoveSmokyMountains.com, and she of Keller Williams. You talk about another great person who makes it better every single day here in East Tennessee. Go ahead, Chef Not Chef. Introduce our next guest here.
That's a nice segue, Tony. This is a man who's joining the show today who, other than our own Tony Vols, Tony Vitello, I don't know that there's another person who has coached for both Tennessee and their opponent this upcoming weekend. Our next guest is Taylor Smart, VFL, played here in 2013 and 14, was a graduate assistant at both Tennessee and Arkansas. Maybe not a grad assistant at Arkansas. He can correct us, but does some business deals with Jennifer Morris. We'll hear more about that. But just a guy who's an absolute ball knower, and what a more perfect time to bring him on the show, Taylor Smart.
Taylor, how you doing, my man?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on. Pumped to do it.
You know, you and Tony are kind of walk the same course. Let's work our way backwards here before we talk about this Arkansas deal in this situation. Through your eyes, okay? And I talk to guys that have played in your era, and they all are just sort of mystified by what Tennessee baseball's become. Chris Burke used to tell me back in those days, kind of if we ever got somebody that sort of got it, it could get there because the sport had really taken off and it was really an excellent level of baseball. Did you ever think, though, that it could take off to this extent, the way, like that scene in Knoxville the other night? Did you ever think we could see things like that here?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I hoped when I came to Tennessee it would be like that, but we weren't quite ready, at that stage. I would agree with Chris. I think everybody playing during my time, even just before that, saw the vision of what the program could become, but it just wasn't real clear on how we would get there and what that would look like. But I think bringing Coach Vitello in, that obviously turned things around very quickly. And having coached against him when I was at Arkansas, I could see the program was 360 degrees different from when I was there, and from when I heard stories of players and coaches before when I was even there at Tennessee. So he's done an incredible job. I mean, it's so fun to watch. I talk to my former teammates all the time. We're always watching the games together. It really is an amazing thing to see. And now at the stadium, doing all the upgrades, it's like, this is what Tennessee baseball is supposed to be. Like, we're a top power. Like, we're the Vols. There's no other option but to be at the top. So it's really cool to see. I wish I was a part of it, man. It's pretty special from afar.
Well, you are a part of it, and so I hope anybody that's ever worn that uniform understands they are a part of it. In fact, you're part of the what I would like to call the bridge to this thing, and Tony gives Dave Serrano a lot of credit because he says, he left me a program that was in pretty good shape because they won right away, which is pretty interesting, right? And one of the guys that's on here, Will Heflin, a guy that, because those kids could have left. Anytime you have a coaching change, Evan Russell was talking yesterday about how word was reverberating through the office that he was going to leave because he didn't think this new coach would keep him. And Tony called him in his office and called him out and said, "Hey, look, man, you going to quit? Go get your stuff, pack your stuff, and get out of here if that's what you're going to do. Yeah. But I'm not running you out of here. I want you here. We need you here. I want players, guys that want to win, guys that want to get better like you." And you hear stories like that, and because Serrano, who's in our area now, he's so classy toward Tony. He's like, I didn't get it done, but I don't begrudge him for getting it done. And Tony is appreciative toward him because, the time you guys were here, that was a tough spot in the program in terms of what had been done to it before that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When I got to Tennessee, I still remember my visit in 2012 in the fall. I was a junior college transfer. To be totally honest, I obviously knew what the SEC was, but you don't really know, being on the West Coast, coming to the Southeast. You don't understand it till you feel it, right? And didn't know much about the program other than I was getting a chance to play right away in the SEC, and came on my visit and was just blown away back then of the possibilities of, playing on this type of stage and everything. And the program, we found out pretty quick, it was in a pretty tough spot when Coach Serrano took it over. That whole coaching staff worked their butt off to get it to where they wanted it to be, right? And the ultimate goal was to do what Tony was doing, win national championships, go to regionals every single year. And unfortunately, it's just not that easy. So it didn't pan out that way. But, I had an incredible experience. I met some of my best friends, playing for the Vols, and met incredible people and community. It was the time of my life, even though we didn't quite win probably as much as everybody had hoped and wanted and drive to do. But it was a great experience for me, and I come back to coach as a grad assistant after I finished playing pro ball, and that was the last year Coach Serrano was there, and then Coach Vitello and I did a switch.
Yeah, he comes here, and then you go down there as one of their assistants at that time because you thought you wanted to get into that profession, and so you go down there with Van Horn. Tell me about the Arkansas machine, because they have been, for the better part of a few decades under him, just a total college basketball or baseball rather machine. Tell me about them.
Yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about Coach Van Horn. He treated me great. I was the volunteer assistant there, got there in the summer of 2018 after that season, and was there 2018. 2019, we went to Omaha, a great team that year. And then the 2020 COVID year when everything in the world changed. But, man, it's a very special place also. I don't get it twisted. I'm all Vol this weekend. but Arkansas was a great place to coach, great place to live. Coach Van Horn, I mean, he commands your respect as a player, and he treats the players the right way. And they do have a well kind of oiled machine over there. Everybody kind of gets, they know the drill, so to say, playing in Fayetteville, and they work their butt off. I mean, I think where Coach Vitello has taken the program, I mean, that's where, it's going to be over a sustained period. And obviously we've already won a national championship, and I think we're just scratching the surface as Tennessee as a program of what we can do and continue to do. But I'm sure in a way Coach Vitello has some things that he's taken and modeled after the Arkansas program, and it's a great place to coach and to play.
What are the similarities when you watch Van Horn up close and then you see Tony doing what he's doing here? Give me some similarities.
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one. I've never coached with Coach Vitello, just seen him from afar, so I may not have a crystal clear idea, but other than seeing it on TV. But I just think both of the coaches, Coach Vitello has from afar, from what I can see, he's intense. He's really into it. He's not afraid to be vocal, which I love. And Coach Van Horn's a little bit more even keeled. But they're very intense in their own ways. I would say that's probably the similarity. Coach Van Horn's a little bit more, I'm going to say quiet is the right word, but he is very locked in game time on that top step, as is Coach Vitello in the dugout, as everybody can see. He's locked in too. So I would say just their intensity of being in the moment is probably the number one thing in the similarity-wise that I would say that they both share and both have.
PFL Taylor Smart joining, who played here, coached here, coached at Arkansas, and now, like the rest of us, is looking forward to what will be a classic weekend here, just an utterly classic weekend with regards to the sport of college baseball. One thing about Arkansas that's weird is recently their history.
Yeah,
that crowd there, it seems like they have it is the top sport on their campus. Yes, that's the sport they care most about.
I would say so, 100%. I mean, I bet you if you did a flyover right now of Baum Walker, there's already people camping out. they are extremely intense about baseball, and it's a huge reason why it makes playing as a player, coach, or playing against them it's so special. Is that it really feels like it matters over there, and it does. But man, it's it's an intense crowd. I personally, and maybe you guys agree, I think there's a little bit more pressure on Arkansas this weekend to deliver and seal the deal and beat Coach Vitello and head back to Omaha. They've had, a couple hiccups over the last couple of years, not getting to that out of the regional and into Omaha. So I think there's a good amount of pressure on them, and the fans know it. They want it. And it's just going to come down to who can relax and play the game and do the simple things at a higher level, I think is what it'll come down to. And I think Tennessee's players, having already played there this year, I honestly think that helps them because they know what to expect. They know it's going to be crazy. They know it's going to be rowdy. It can give a sense of relaxing and knowing, hey, we've been in this atmosphere before. Let's just go play the game and not be maybe as tied up into the crowd stuff.
They actually hit the ball very well there, looked very comfortable. It might have been the most comfortable they looked all year in any baseball series. Let's, without further ado, bring John Adams in here of my Knoxville News Sentinel, presented by Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com, she of Keller Williams fame. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Taylor, when you're being recruited, it's funny, we're right in the middle of deciding a national championship, but in the weird world of transfer portal, NIL, and all that good stuff, you're also it's a hot time for recruiting, and Tennessee's already added transfers. As a former player, I would think you're attracted to a school. You want to go somewhere where you can get better. You want to go somewhere where you can win. But I wonder how much sheer joy and fun plays into it. Because when you watch Tennessee play and when you watch Vitello coach and watch him interact with these players, it seems to be so much fun. And it seems to be an attraction for recruits who suddenly think, man, I'd like to be a part of that because it looks so fun.
Right. Yeah, I think that plays a massive role in it. I think you can see every single day how much Coach Vitello cares about his players and will go to war for them. I think when you have a coach like him, and I wish I could have played for him too. I'm standing up in my living room ready to get after it myself, just seeing him in the dugout, backing his players and everything. I think it plays a massive role. I think when other players see, hey, man, I can be myself over there. Not only am I going to get every opportunity to win a national championship, play at an amazing SEC school, be on TV every single day, have NIL opportunities. I mean, it literally checks every box for a player and as a recruit, whether you're high school or a transfer kid, to where it's like, man, I want to go be a Vol. Like, this place looks incredible to play at. So I think what he's done and created the culture over there, it's a massive draw for all players, high school transfers, to get over there. And man, if I was to transfer too, I would be looking at that going, where can I get the best opportunity to win, have the most fun, have the time of my life? Because a lot of these kids, man, they don't realize heading into pro ball, even their draft year, this is the best, and I think will say the same thing. This is the best time of your life as a player. Pro ball is a totally different animal. And I really hope a lot of these guys really take all this in, because they're going to remember this stuff for the rest of their life on that field. So it's such a special place, even when I was there. So it's great to see.
Hey, Chef, jump in here. The great Will Heflin, Taylor Smart. This guy is bringing it to the table today, Will, just like you promised.
He sure is. Hey, keep it simple here, Taylor. We may have different views from having watched both teams. What's the difference in this weekend? What's the keys for Tennessee to win? What's it look like if Arkansas wins?
Man, I think Arkansas can swing it. I think if Liam Doyle can get out and shove and stay within himself as much as he can, and throw strikes and just shut that crowd up a little bit. I think that's a big separator. You know, I know he kind of had a couple hiccups his last previous starts, and then he came back out against Wake Forest and dealt again. But I think he's a big factor of having a really quality start. You know, the other thing too, I think if Tennessee can just play really good defense, I think that's going to be a big separator, because it's going to be intense. There's going to be times where they need to make plays and also make the routine play. I think it's going to be a big deal. So the pitching and the defense, and I know that may sound cliche, but I think that's what it's going to come down to for the Vols to come out and dogpile on Baum Walker, which would be incredible to watch.
And those poor people there, if that happens, like Brian Hartman, who's in here. Hey, Brian, that would be the most devastating thing that's maybe ever happened to their program if Tennessee went in there and beat them in a super with Tony Vitello.
Given how Tennessee won a national championship, beat them to a national championship with their former assistant.
That's got to be.
And then they come into their house the very next year and take a super regional. It would sting worse than the rest of their recent exits combined, in my opinion.
And I like sports pain. I'm a big favor. I'm in favor of sports pain. Would I be a masochist or I guess I'm a sadist, John? You revel in the pain of somebody else? Is that a masochist, John?
No, you're sadistic, Tony.
Sadistic.
I've noticed that about you already.
All right, so John, jump in here with Taylor Smart. Go ahead.
Yeah, Taylor, is that when you're playing? I brought this up earlier on the show. Chris Burke was talking about Tennessee's had some defensive lapses. It's botched some easy plays, had mishaps that can affected the outcomes of several series. But he thinks, having been through that and having experienced that, if it happens again in the tournament, it doesn't have the same impact it might with another team which hasn't experienced that, where everything has kind of gone smoothly. It's made all the routine plays, hasn't had fielding mishaps, hasn't blown a sure double play, that kind of thing. So he thinks Tennessee can play through that more easily than maybe a team that hasn't experienced that. And then you have the added pressure of the tournament, and with Arkansas in a situation where it's kind of expected to win and it's on its home field. What do you think of Burke's take on that?
Yeah, I think there's absolutely some validity to that. You know, unfortunately, Tennessee's had a couple issues defensively, but I think it just comes down to, once again, knowing that they belong there, and I know that they know that, but just making the routine plays. You know, not making the game harder than it is and trying to do something spectacular out there. It's being locked in pitch by pitch and really just making the routine play. Arkansas has done a great job the whole year of doing that. I mean, their shortstop's a stud. He's pretty much a vacuum over there, and has range and has the arm and has all the tools. And there's a reason why they're where they're at. You know, they also hit. They got a good pitching staff, and you know, I think it's going to be a tough series. It's going to be tight. I think, as I said earlier, who can control their emotions and pitch and play defense the best is probably going to come out victorious.
Utterly beautiful thing. Celebrating the sport, celebrating an opportunity to see Tennessee on that stage in the Super Regional. It's going to be unreal. Matt Dixon, you're making your first trip down there to that stadium, and Taylor was there for a full season, and then I guess part of a season when it got wiped out. Taylor, what advice would you give to a Matt Dixon or some Tennessee fans that have never been there and seen that place and had an opportunity to see a game? What are they in for, our fans that make the trip?
Yeah, they're in for a rowdy atmosphere. I would try to soak it all in, get there early. If you're going there for leisure and not for work, so to say, I would go try to get in the hog pen if they'll let you in there. But something tells me that it'll be pretty packed to get into that outfield area. But it really is a good baseball atmosphere to be a part of. But you know, it's full day events out there. I mean, I remember getting to the stadium at 8 or 9 in the morning for a night game, and there's already people camped out, ready to go. Got the smokers ready, they're getting the food going. So they know how to do it back there. But if you're a Tennessee fan, I mean, wear your orange. Let's get after it together and go support the boys and get there early. And it's going to be a crazy series. I can't wait.
Hey, Matt, will you partake before the game in calling the Hogs? Will you let your hair down, Matt, and call the Hogs? Inquiring minds want to know.
No, but I will take video of some Arkansas fans doing it.
Hey, Chef, when you're on the field and they're calling the Hogs, you were down there, right, with Tennessee in that series where Taylor was there. You got to play in that series, Chef. When they're calling the Hogs and you're on the field, what's that like, man?
Well, I played at Baum in 19. They came to our place in 21 when they had Kevin Kopps in that crazy year. But 2019, I'm going to put myself on blast here. So Heston Kjerstad of the Baltimore Orioles was later that year the number 2 overall pick. So pretty good player,
I'd say.
Anyways, he hits one over the scoreboard off yours truly. Didn't feel good. But then they started calling the Hogs. And I got to tell you, the game was already out of hand at that point. That's the only time I've ever been on the mound and appreciated an opposing team's stadium and atmosphere. Because at that point, I'm just like, all right, I got to soak this in, right? I gave up a long homer, so what? It's 1 run. And you know what? I actually did feel my knees shaking a little bit. But the next pitch was a strike, got out of the inning, yada, yada. So not an all bad experience, but truly impressive. Like one of the few baseball stadiums that can truly affect the game. And there's some great parks around the league. But in terms of a noise level and fan engagement, it's always been number 1 on my list. And now I didn't play in the newly renovated Duty Noble. And when Mississippi State hosts a postseason event there, that's probably got to be number 1, just based off what I've seen on TV. And playing in their park before it was renovated was still awesome. It was just a rainy weekend, kind of a drag, mood killer, if you will. But Arkansas is just, it feels like such a perfect spot to play college baseball. And Taylor's right about the hog pen. Like, it's cool. The Tennessee players, if they go out there and play nice, they'll probably make friends with half of those guys. Like, it's just a great showcase of the game. And I know there's rivalry, but there's a way to go about it to where you can truly enjoy it and feed off of it as the away team. And so that's what Tennessee's got to do. And I'm not saying I was perfect at that by any stretch. But I did get to, that's a long way of saying, yes, they called the Hogs after I gave up a home run. And while that stunk, it was also pretty cool in that same moment.
Let me bring my mystery guest in here. Mystery guest right now, you're from like a wild and wonderful part of our world. Would you call the Hogs, mystery guest, if you were there?
Absolutely not. Not doing it. And goodness, I'm honored to be on the phone with all of you fine folk this afternoon.
You better not, mystery guest.
I'm not doing it.
I like the tradition of, like Will's saying, those people celebrate their deal. They've got a great scene there. Mystery guest, are you feeling it right now? Because you're, you've been to just about every baseball game this year. It looks like Matt Dixon said, mystery guest, that our team Monday night, a Tony Vitello baseball team sort of finally arrived. But we had to be pushed and backed into a corner for it to happen. It does feel like that's exactly what happened on Monday.
It definitely did. And, some teams work better under pressure. And I think this team's always been a Tony Vitello team, just some different players and characters. And, we've got a few on the team that definitely are more vocal than the others. And the timing was right to get everything fired up, and it definitely worked in our favor.
Mystery guest, do you have anything else for the great Taylor Smart here.
Absolutely. You know I had to jump on here. Smarty, as they call him. Yeah, Smarty and I actually work together. We're business partners here in Knoxville. Even though he lives in Phoenix, we both are in the real estate industry. And I guess a little bit over a year ago, we're able to connect. We had the same goals in wanting to help athletes learn how to use their NIL dollars wisely and invest in real estate here in Knoxville. Help them learn how to double and triple their own earnings. And we have had a lot of success so far. Having someone like Taylor on our team who has played, is a VFL, understands what life is like after the game is done, really has just been key to our success. So we have current balls right now that are in the middle of purchasing properties or have purchased properties with us and getting rehabbed. VFLs that Kristen played with, or that Taylor played with, like Kristen Stewart, are doing that right now. So it's just been awesome to have Taylor back in the fold here in Knoxville, even though he's a couple time zones away currently.
Taylor, how did you find Jennifer Morris, who's one of the finest human beings ever?
I think a little luck and maybe the man above aligned us there with finding me a really good business partner. To be honest with you, to make long story short, I have been thinking about this idea ever since I left Arkansas. Unfortunately, when COVID hit, it completely changed my whole career trajectory. Had no desires to ever be out of baseball, and it didn't work that way. Unfortunately, every baseball door and coaching job, was kind of closing on me, and it kind of was my sign to maybe look at something different, and kind of had this idea. It's like, wow, guys are, making really good money now. NIL, I know kind of what I would do at 20 years old with a couple $100,000 in my bank account. I probably wouldn't be making too smart of decisions. So I'm like, what can I do to blend the real estate with NIL with collegiate athletes? And so I kind of come up with this idea of, number one, providing education to these players about what they can do, and also the benefits of investing into real estate and making smart decisions financially. There had to be something I could do. And so I just was kicking around ideas and who I could connect with in Knoxville. And I came across Jennifer on Instagram, to be honest. She had posted something, and I don't remember how I saw it, with Drew Beam from one of the previous years about NIL. And I was like, wait a minute, wonder what she's doing. And I reached out to her and said, hey, do you want to, jump on a phone call? And I maybe have something I want to run by you. And Jennifer and I hit it off right away. And I could just tell the genuine person who she was allowed me to have the trust to kind of bring this up to her and put some ideas in her head about forming a company together to where we could exclusively work with all athletes, current and former, to help them with their NIL earnings and help them invest after their career and what they can do with, if they do play pro ball or move on to another level of, what a great market Knoxville is to do that. So that's how we connected. And it's been about a year. I remember right around the super regional time we had connected, and we've done a lot in a year's time frame and made some incredible connections. We've met with the football staff, did a whole presentation in front of the football team. We've met with quite a few of the other sports too, and guys are already seeing, the writing on the wall that this is a really good thing that we've kind of formed called Volunteer Ventures. So Jennifer is a massive help to the company and to me, and a great friend as well.
Jen's kind of the best. I want to know from both of you, what happens this weekend in Fayetteville? Jennifer, you first.
We go 3 games, but we take it.
Oh my gosh. I think I'm not going to say I think you're right. I think that could happen. If I say I think you're right, Matt Dixon's going to come over here and slap my fat face, as they say in the trade. Taylor, what do you think, man?
I think game one's going to be a big deal. If Tennessee wins the first game, I do think there's going to be a ton of pressure on the boys in Fayetteville and in the other dugout for Arkansas. I think Tennessee wins game one. I think they take game two, and they take the whole series.
Matt, are you of the mindset, because Taylor mentioned this earlier, are they starting Phillips on Friday, or Saturday rather?
I would think so, just to give Doyle that extra rest, and you're pitching Phillips on a normal rest because he pitched the Saturday game, the game two against Cincinnati. So I would think that's what they do, which is funny because that's actually what they did the first time they went to Fayetteville. They used Phillips in the first game, which they won, and he was really effective. So I think that's what they do again.
Yeah, and the other thing is, too, correct me if I'm wrong, but the catcher, the Wallace kid, has caught Phillips, 3 or 4 times this year, which is also an advantage. And he hasn't worked with Doyle, has he, Matt?
Not in a game, no. But, yeah, Stone Wallace caught Phillips probably the first half of the season, maybe a game, maybe even 1 or 2 SEC starts. Which I guess that Florida one was probably Phillips' best outing numbers-wise. So, yeah, that's another part. And Will brought that up on the postgame. It's a really good point about Lawless and Phillips already having some connection, and obviously with Peebles out for the first game, it would make even more sense to do that.
How important is that in your mind, Will Heflin, from your perspective?
I think it plays a factor. It's probably not as big of a deal as we're making it out to be, but that's kind of what we do, right? We make things out to be a little bit bigger than they might be. But it could be part of the decision. I think the bigger factor is the rest for Liam Doyle and what you want to do just to line up the series. For me, I kind of like having Doyle either A, to extend the season and save your season, or B, slam the door shut and get to Omaha. So I kind of like the Doyle in game two regardless, but the catcher camaraderie can be a factor, probably more so at the major league level, because you probably got several and guys are in and out all the time, and guys can get comfortable with one guy when you throw that many games in a year. But in college, like Stone Lawless probably caught Liam Doyle multiple times in the fall, and caught bullpens that maybe even throughout this year has caught Liam Doyle on kind of in between his starts just in case something like this were to happen. So I don't think it's a huge deal, but it could be a factor.
Jen and Taylor and Chef Not Chef, thank y'all. Incredible. Great job, y'all.
Thanks for letting me hop on.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
That was a good time.
Taylor, thanks, man.
Absolutely. Looking forward to doing it again at some point.
Thank you. Would love that. And Jen, thanks. Thanks for all you do, Jen, for our community.
Yeah, thanks, Tony.
You're the greatest. There's so much love in the air. Love is all around. Everywhere I turn around. Who made that song? John Adams, do you remember? Love is everywhere.
No, that's a really annoying song.
That's really bad,
about a mood killer.
That's bad.
Things were going well with the show, and you started singing that, and I don't know, it just totally changed the whole mood. I thought.
John loves him some Jennifer Morris, though. Like, she's very cool. Like, you guys go and have lunch. You see her more than I do. You go and have lunch with her and stuff. She's very cool.
She helped me with.
Yeah.
She helped me with the neighborhood issue too.
God, Jen's like the mayor in the Fountain City area. The mayor of the deal.
Yeah, well, see, she really cares about this whole area, not just her immediate neighborhood.
Correct.
And it's good. You don't find many people like that.
No. She had me come and do a speech to the business society. I don't know what it is, but it's like Fountain City business people. And you could tell Jen just loves her community. And you need people like Jennifer Morris in your community. And Taylor Smart was excellent today. I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to be a really interesting ball game that we're about to see. And And Heflin, you're still in here. I love you, Heflin. Heflin, you're so fired up right now you can't see straight. I know you.
I'm just focused and prepared, Tony. We, you can always tell when you've got really smart people talking to you, and you just want to try not to screw up. And I know it's been a love fest in here, but gosh, when Jennifer and Smarty got off there, you could just feel the deflation, knowing that the living listeners are just going to get you and this Riley bunch the rest of the day.
I got your Riley bunch right here, big boy. By the way, my friends at Simpsons Meats, they were going to have an event tomorrow. They've canceled it. Unlike Tony Vitello, they don't think they can change the weather. They're not talking, hey, Matt, they haven't consulted with Tony Vitello's source at the National Weather Service. So they've canceled their event till July 11. You can check out more information on their Instagram page and some other pages, but shout out to our friends at Simpsons Meats. How about that, Matt? They don't think they can change the weather, unlike Tony Vitello, who thinks he could change the bluest sky gray.
Yeah, that will always be a head scratcher to me, that move. But in a way, it lets you bring Doyle out of the pen and feel a little bit more comfortable Monday night doing it. Maybe you learned something, or he learned something about his routine that helped. So maybe Vitello was just playing the long game, as he so often does.
Yes, I'm just going to start the game here and play out here, and weather literally where it's raining sideways, but I cannot wait to get Tony on here and refer to him in the fall as a weatherman once all this quote-unquote blows over, so to speak. But let's take a brief time out, and we'll come back with more on the other side as we bring her on back right after this.
Logistics Hotline, online at tldlogistics.com.
It's back! You asked for it and you got it. All You Can Eat Wednesdays is back with your Knoxville Smokies. The most delicious Wednesday dinner. All you can eat pulled pork, hot dogs, Bush's baked beans, Uncle Ray's potato chips, popcorn, Pepsi products, and more. Is anyone else getting hungry? But we aren't finished yet. This week we've also got Thirsty Thursday, Princess Night and fireworks on Friday, 90s Night and the Toy Story game, and fireworks on Saturday. And our Sunday day game is a huge mascot party. Get your tickets now at smokiesbaseball.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Peace of mind is priceless, especially when it comes to your home safety and your family's comfort. That's why the pros at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling created the Peace of Mind Maintenance Plan. Preventative maintenance for HVAC and plumbing is like changing your vehicle's oil, and experts recommend scheduling regular system checks to keep everything running smoothly. With Peace of Mind, you can safeguard your home from unexpected costly breakdowns and repairs. You'll get tons of benefits, including full system checks on HVAC and plumbing systems, water heater flushes, sewer camera inspection, 10% automatic discount on repairs, priority bookings, no service fees, and much more. Monthly service plans are as low as $20.25 per month, and total annual services are valued at over $1,500. Call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to sign up or schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination. or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our gold bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to budget.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Tony B here with the great Zakai Ziegler for
Hey,
Advent.
whoa. Tony, I got this. Hey, Tennessee, it's Easy here. Next time you have an electric issue at your home or business, call my friends at Advent Electric. With offices in Knoxville and Nashville, it's Mama's Easy approved.
You heard it from the most electrifying player in the league. Call the service professionals at Advent Electric, 865-588-0631. Online, adventelectric.com. Tell them ZZ sent you. I was thinking about something during the break. I actually had a thought, like a cogent thought. I don't let it happen too much in my world, but we welcome you back on a Thursday, a John Adams Thursday nonetheless. Can you imagine, John, if you played like here baseball, say, I don't know, years before Vitello got here, when, you know, you would draw a few people and you're just kind of playing the sport in almost anonymity. And then you'd walk back in that stadium now. It's like a totally, completely different sport. Isn't that strange, John, to think about?
I saw a shot of the 2021 season, and there was just one row of porches out in left field.
That's right.
And now there's 3 stories of them.
That's right.
Just in the last 4 years since this run began, the stadium looks so much different.
It's such a I don't even know where to begin, Matt. I mean, did you feel like, Matt, when you were watching it back then that, you know, because it was so off the radar, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, even compared to the Delmonico era, which is pretty successful, you were, you know, hit or miss. You'd have, you know, a number of down years before you'd have a good one, and it'd be a great one. And you'd really appreciate it. But what they're doing now is, it's truly unbelievable. And I mean, I didn't think anything after 22 was sustainable, and somehow they've kind of just continued. Like 5 straight super regionals is insane. But before Vitello, Tennessee never even made the SEC tournament 5 years in a row, which goes back to like 99. And when they changed the format, but Tennessee had never even been the Hoover 5 years in a row. And now they've been 5 supers. They've gone to Omaha 3 times. They've won a natty. Like it's one of the most incredible coaching jobs and program turnarounds, really in sport, in college sports and in SEC history. I mean, it literally was the very bottom of the league. It was, you know, Tennessee was down there like 15th with Missouri, who ironically is where Vitello played, and they had an opportunity to hire him and didn't.
John, what do you think the number is? Because you and I have talked about the engagement. Like, people say, well, why do you do so much baseball stuff? I'm just going to tell you why. Because people engage with it.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with winning.
No doubt.
No doubt. But also a lot of it has to do with how you win. It's Tony Vitello has opened the door to his program and welcomed everybody in. He makes you want to be a part of it. He engages in the community. So fans are drawn to his program. The winning is the main thing. If he's losing, it doesn't matter. But he's winning, but he's also magnifying the interest by being so accessible and making his players accessible. I've said this a lot of times, but I've never had a bad interview with the Tennessee baseball player under Vitello. Ever. They just handle it well, and they seem to enjoy doing it, and that's really odd. It could be an act, admittedly. But I do think they seem to enjoy it at least. And his players seem more mature than the average college athlete. And I'm not sure why that is, but I think a lot of it has to do with the culture and the way he interacts with people in the community and with people in the media. So I was just thinking, when Matt was talking about, and you were talking about what a great job he's done, we've reached a point now with his success in the 5 straight super regionals and including a national championship, 3 College World Series in the previous 4 years. When you talk about the great coaches in SEC history in all sports, Tennessee has 3 that come to mind right away, in General Nealon in football, Pat Summitt in basketball, and now Tony Vitello in baseball. That's pretty significant.
It's highly significant. Highly significant. And it's a really interesting point that you bring up, because these people don't show up very much. These are what we use the term generational for a reason. And how he got here, like the John Curry hiring him, John Curry being here like a blip on the radar. That is just think about that. It's just so strange. It's an odd footnote. Tennessee's got it. Brian, you were saying before, share with the living listener in terms of the success on the campus right now, just how unprecedented this is. Nobody else in the country can say what Brian Hartman's about to say. Go ahead, Brian.
That they were in a 12-team college football playoff.
Check.
That they made the Sweet 16 in both men's and women's basketball.
Double check.
And that they played in a super regional in baseball.
Nobody else in sports can say that.
And also that probably they can't say they were in one of the final 4 teams left in college softball either.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. All those coaches were hired by different athletic directors. It's like a tapestry. It's really strange. It's really bizarre.
I think the John Curry deal is probably the most intriguing, though, because he was here for a short time. And he wasn't even here a year, but look what and everybody remembers the coaching search fiasco, which wasn't all John Curry's fault. And but there was these other things that happened. Remember, he brought back the Lady Vols after Dave Hart had done away with that. That was very significant for the fan base. Maybe not so much as for winning or on the field stuff, but it had a huge impact with the fan base. And I think because Curry was here such a short time, people didn't associate him with doing that. But I think it was very important to the overall athletic department that he did what he did, because
great point.
I think it helped solidify the fan base
and unify and unify everybody. You know, that whole thing, that whole Dave Hart war on women thing, because he had a war on women. It's one of the dumbest things in the world, man. Let me ask the married men out there, how do you think a war on women's going to end up? You think you're going to win? You declare war on your – who do you think is going to win that battle? Dave Hart, clown. You know, I'm glad I'm bald. I don't have to go through the process of spackling all that stuff on me like Dave Hart. In the meantime, I love the radio listener. Have a great Thursday. Some TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime coming up, so get on the lines.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AP. Powell, Knoxville.
Sheffy, not Sheffy. Taking a shot at Davey Boy Hart. We've seen some characters here, John.
It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, presented by TLD Logistics. Online at tldlogistics.com.
We've seen some real characters here. Hey, John, in the
And
summer,
now let's go to the guys with today's edition of TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
Once we get past this, you know, Cinco made a really good point. You know, Derek Dooley would have been full enough for us to, like, remember him. He's like a footnote in this deal. We've seen so many nut jobs come and go and so many crazy things. Most schools, he would be king nut job. Around here, he's not even a Matt. He might be like on the nut job alternative team or the alternate team, Matt. I don't think Derek Dooley makes a starting five here. We've seen so many nut jobs come through here.
No, he really doesn't, because he's been smart enough to not really say anything after getting fired here. Like, he's just kind of went on and kind of went away and hasn't done anything high profile except be a legend in a golf tournament. So, but yeah, that's a good point, that he was so nutty and had so many just crazy things happen during his tenure but it's just so overlooked because Tennessee just kept getting in their own way for a decade.
John, this book...
And it wasn't just, excuse me, Tony, but it wasn't just the coaches. It was the administrators and not just in the athletic department. Derek Dooley just kind of is just another guy. He doesn't make the top five. When you can bring in people like Jimmy Cheek as a chancellor, Dave Hart as AD. I mean, how in the world could anybody think with any familiarity at all with college sports think that I'm going to need to get rid of this Lady Vol stuff except for basketball. We'll call some of our women's teams Vol, some of them Lady Vol. I mean, who would even have that thought? Of all the things you could do, not do, that was something that would just seemingly never pop up in somebody's head. So moves like that, it's just stunning. And the biggest beneficiary of that kind of stuff and those kind of decisions are the current leaders at the school, because you start with Randy Boyd as president, a successful businessman. What he's accomplished here, is very significant, but it's amplified because of the people before him. I mean, because the bar was so low. I mean, if he can just come in and be ordinary, people would say, hey, that's better than it used to be. And Donde Plowman, you call her rock star, she really is, especially when you compare her to her predecessors. And now that's really good that you bring up Derek Dooley, because he was quirky, but when you look at the coaches that follow him, he was quirky, and then they hire Butch Jones. How could you hire just the quirkiness factor? How could you hire three guys in a row like Derek Dooley, Butch Jones, and Jeremy Pruitt? I almost cried when Butch Jones got fired, even though I wrote that he should be fired, because I thought, man, this guy's he gives me column ideas regularly. You just don't get that kind of stuff. And then you bring in Jeremy Pruitt.
Yeah, you know what Filmer said? Filmer said, "Hold my beer. I'll show you something. You want to see a guy? You want to see a complete maroon? I'll show you one."
I still, my fantasy competitive event would be Jeremy Pruitt and Butch Jones staring across the chessboard at one another.
Butchie boy, he's still out there doing it, Matt. Butchie boy, do you think Pruitt ever gets back in it, Matt? He's got to get back in it, right? Isn't his show cause up?
I don't know if it's up yet, but he'll get back in it. Absolutely.
And how can these show causes go on in this era we're in right now? How do the show causes go on?
I don't even remember what Jeremy Pruitt's was. It how many years it was? Was it 3 years?
It's so silly now. It all seems so passe.
Well, the one that seems even sillier, and silliness doesn't really describe it, was Bruce Pearl's punishment.
Totally silly.
Even within the context of what was going on pre-NIL and pre-transfer portal, when you've got people caught on FBI wiretaps, and you've got coaches like Bill Self, Will Wade,
never sat a day.
And what was going on in North Carolina?
Never
and
sat
Bruce
a day.
Pearl can't coach anywhere for years.
Never sat a day.
It worked out for him.
Yep.
But my gosh.
Here's another one. And just kind of spitballing off the top here, but I'm going to tell you something. Marcos and Zakai Ziegler's team, they've got the federal government's attention. You know how many attorneys have interfaced in their lives with the United States Department of Justice? Let me tell you this, not many. And that's exactly what happened earlier in the week. They interfaced with them, and then you saw that statement, which I think a lot of people have misinterpreted. I'm going to tell you something. This Ziegler hearing is tomorrow, and they've made a lot more headway than people thought. The NCAA is really worried about the argument that the Ziegler team has come up with here. That's why the Department of Justice felt the need to get involved in it. That's the backstory. Now, I don't know how it's going to play out. Tomorrow's the hearing in the Knoxville court. But the way Marcos Garza, Zach Lawson, etc., the way those guys framed that argument and came up with the argument they've come up with, they've got the NCAA highly concerned. How do I know that? I haven't talked about it this week, but I'm gonna mention here because I know John knows a lot about it as well. When you see the NCAA going to the courts and saying we need the Pavia, we need the appeal heard now. They were doing that running up to this thing. Now they're going to run out of time, but when you see that, the only conclusion you can come to is they needed another arrow in their quiver. When you see the United States Department of Justice, I don't want to say putting their thumb on the scale because I'm not sure that's what happened. I think the media has misread that. I'm not a lawyer by any stretch of the imagination. I will tell you this. Zakai Ziegler's team feels pretty good about this thing. They think they've got a chance. Tennessee basketball internally, when this thing started about a month or so ago, thought, no way. Now, I wrote a basketball report today on some, if you go to tclub.team, we're going to do this throughout the month of June because they're allowed to work out with their players. This forward that they got, big man that they got from Alabama, they thought they were getting a developmental player. He's going to play right away. I haven't heard them talk about a newcomer coming out of nowhere since Zakai Ziegler. I'm not saying he's going to have a Zakai Ziegler impact on the year,
But I think right now he's 9th or 10th man on their roster. They didn't think there was any way in the world that Zakai Ziegler was going to be on their basketball team. They now think it's a coin flip internally. And that industry is really watching this. And this judge in Knoxville, if she decides that this panel or that Zakai Ziegler's counsel has the proper argument, watch out. Because it's going to be like the Curt Flood case all over again in Major League Baseball. And and it's ironic, I'm going to use this term, they don't want to open the floodgates. They don't want to open, and some of you don't want them to open the floodgates. And John, I'm telling you, this thing is really, really, really interesting. Really interesting.
Well, Tony, when you were talking about that, and I know Marcus Garza pretty well.
Yep.
Really good guy, really does a lot for the community, does a lot for UT Sports. But above all that, he's really a good attorney, and he really goes after stuff. He's not just a showman. He goes for the details, and his team does. And so, they were pretty deliberate the way they went about this. So, but when you were talking about that, and we just go from talking about, think about this. We were just talking about Jimmy Cheek, Butch Jones, Jeremy Pruitt, Derek Dooley, Dave Hart, just almost the clown show that Tennessee has been for so long. Now we're talking about a local attorney who's having a national impact. He could have, if this thing goes his way in court, a national impact in college athletics. Then we were talking, you've brought this up before, there was a video in which Chancellor Donde Plowman of Tennessee interviewed Danny White. Yeah, it was a nice promotion and so forth. And she was patting him on the back, and he was patting her on the back, and it was a good time for everybody. But in the course of that interview, they both brought up how the only way to resolve all these problems right now in terms of NIL transfer portal is to have collective bargaining. You've got to go the employee route with student athletes. And a lot of people have been saying that, but I haven't heard leaders of athletic departments and leaders of universities saying it, and saying it so matter-of-factly, like, well, that's the only way to resolve this. We talk about the House settlement thing is going to get things, pull things together. No, it won't. That will be challenged in court, and it probably won't go well for the NCAA. So my point is, we have all these Tennessee people now in positions of influence nationally. Donde Plowman, Chancellor, Danny White, one of the top ADs in the country, Marcos Garza bringing a potentially historic lawsuit. He's a local attorney. And then you go with Tony Vitello. We've been talking about Tennessee baseball all throughout the show. And he's really the face of college baseball. And once he won that national title last year and followed it up with a 5th consecutive super regional, his program is now the program in college baseball. Might not win a championship this year, but the consistency in a program where consistency is so hard to achieve. But it's just striking to me how different just the leadership surrounding Tennessee athletics, how different it is now and at what a higher level it is than it once was.
Hey, Matt, what about that? Because Mike Rooney on here earlier, and I texted Tony when Rooney said that about him. Rooney thinks that Tennessee baseball has been at the forefront of growing the game, not only here, but growing it across the country, college baseball.
Oh, no, they absolutely did. That 22 team absolutely did. There's a lot of people who their first exposure to college baseball was that team, and all the bat flips and the antics and the fur coat, the daddy hat, all that stuff has just I think it's grown the game in a huge way. Maybe not necessarily in ways that we all agree with.
Yep.
But it's still made you talk about it, makes you watch it, and it's such a compelling sport. And there's storylines, that wrestling storyline element that Tennessee helped create is absolutely there. That I think they ultimately help change the sport for the better, and hopefully they can continue to take advantage of that. And I'm sure they will as long as Vitello's here.
They have a flashpoint moment this weekend where Vitello comes out of the dugout and screams on an umpire, or his adversary does, or one of the players starts screaming into our dugout, or one of our players starts screaming into theirs and melt the guy down. Somebody gets met. Those fans there are going to go absolutely ballistic because this is what college baseball fans demand. They want it as a part of their sport. Like the Chipper Joneses of the world, they don't understand that because it's kind of foreign to them, which I get. He didn't play college baseball. The Chris Burkes totally understand it. Like, it's expected. Burke used to tell me all the time, Tony, this thing's got such an entertainment vibe to it that a guy with your personality would really, really glom onto it if we could ever get it off the ground here. I used to laugh at him. I've said that a million times on the air. I know that bores some of you. We have new listeners every day, but I cannot believe how much college baseball I've watched this year. Me and Matt were talking yesterday. That ESPN Plus thing and how you can watch all these games all during the year. And you can watch all these games from all these cool like college baseball venues where the fans are right on top of the players. And it's a sport where you can see the meltdown at any point in time. And these fans feed, like, John, if Tony comes out of that dugout and starts screaming on an umpire, how crazy is the crowd going to go there? And what kind of things will be coming out of the rich people's mouths right down below? What kind of stuff are they going to be screaming at him? It's going to be so next level.
I know it's almost as though there's a ticking time bomb will be there in the stadium. It just something's going to set it off.
That's right. Like if that Fisher guy hits a long home run, John, and starts gesturing to their crowd the way he's going to, can you imagine? They'll be throwing stuff on the field at him.
There'll be a delay. There'll probably be a lengthy delay to get started.
Well,
love it.
Someone write a critical article of Arkansas's fans littering the field like they did at the Ole Miss game.
I love it.
Tennessee fans.
Yeah.
Well, I think, Tony, what's interesting about baseball, to me, it's kind of perceived differently than all other sports. There's the people that are really involved in baseball, that played it, coached it, or have followed it for a long time, they love the game. There's just a reverence about it almost, that it would inspire poets to write about it. Some of the books that have been written about it, there's just kind of a religious attitude toward baseball. And it goes back and it brings in all the history and the tradition. And they view the game people. They're the insiders. They're part of it. They think things should be done a certain way, and that's fine. That's how they see the sport, and they want it done a certain way. They're, I guess, baseball purists. But now what's happening with college baseball, it's brought in a wider audience.
Yep.
And it's brought in a different audience. You have to keep in mind, sports are entertainment. And this version of college baseball, what's going on right now, not college baseball, I shouldn't say college baseball, this version of baseball, I find more appealing than anything else that I've seen with baseball. I mean, it's so compelling. And when you factor in the underdog possibilities in this sport, we talked about it earlier when we had Mike Rooney on it, and the idea of Little Rock. I mean, my wife said, is Little Rock? I mean, is that a college? What is that? And she just knows the town. But Little Rock had LSU on the ropes on its home field in a regional final. Little Rock, that was like 8-16 in its own conference.
Yep.
I mean, that was like a in the NCAA basketball tournament, the equivalent of a 16 seed being up by 10 points at halftime against the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament.
They beat them the night before, John. So if they beat them twice in a row, I'm not sure you can compare that to anything in the NCAA tournament.
No, I don't think you could have.
That's what's crazy about it.
Yeah.
They already beat them once. Yeah. When I was listening to LSU's baseball, I fell asleep to it. And their baseball announcers could not believe that Little Rock was going to win that first game. They were like, well, we'll get the bats going, because everybody knows what's in front of them. And then that Sunday, when you get that thing to Monday, you're in a full panic mode at that point.
Yeah.
You don't know if your team's going to wake up. When you get somebody in a Monday game, Matt, I really believe I'm putting my parlay together like I did last week, my pick 3. And I think my pick for the Tennessee series is going to be that it goes 3 games. That's going to be my play. Because I really think this thing goes 3 games, Matt. I really do. I don't know who wins. I don't pretend to know who wins. I don't see either one of these two teams sweeping the other, though.
Well, Tennessee's certainly not going to sweep Arkansas. That's not who this team is. And they've just not done that. So I definitely think it goes 3 games as well. That would be very fitting if it does.
Yes.
In a lot of ways. But yeah, it should, either way, I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And just that TV draws. I mean, they got the 3-man booth here like Omaha. I mean, it's the premier series of the college baseball super regionals.
And I hope it's 3 close games. And I'm with Matt. I really hope that the Curly kid play. And I'm just going to say it out loud. I hope he plays a clean series in the field. I'm going to say out loud what you're thinking. I really hope for his sake that he plays a clean series in the field. And Matt, maybe like, they throw out the ceremonial first pitch. We ought to throw out the first wild pickoff attempt, Matt. That ought to be our thing that we do. You get the first guy, let him get on, if he reaches, and then you just kind of step off and throw the ball into the camera well, just to kind of get it over with.
Yeah.
I mean,
to ease the tension.
Ease attention.
What? Hey, Tony, I'd like to go back to something that we talked about earlier. I didn't really chime in on it at the time.
The Twidiots?
And go ahead.
Was it the Twidiots? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
My bad.
No, I think we're all twidioted out. It was about Liam Doyle and about the pitching rotation. And I can certainly understand the thinking behind pitching him in game 2. It worked previously in Fayetteville with Marcus Phillips winning the first game. Doyle didn't pitch well in the second game. And Tennessee lost the series. The idea of giving him an extra day's rest, since he did pitch on Monday 2+ innings, I couldn't resist the urge to start him in the first game, though, because he's your best pitcher. He's one of the best pitchers in the country. And if Tennessee wins that first game, I think the pressure that's already on Arkansas might just become overwhelming. That's why I would want to go. And you know what? Let's say Liam Doyle pitches 6 innings the first game and Tennessee wins. Arkansas wins game 2. Liam Doyle is going to want to close out that third game. I'm telling you. I don't care when he just pitched or how many pitches he threw. He's going to want to throw. He's going to want to pitch an inning. If it comes down to one last inning in the third game, he'd want to throw it. How can you stop him?
That's a great point. It's a really great point that you bring up. What'll be really interesting, guys, if we get that thing to 3 games, is who will have the edge here. because the gentleman from Arkansas we had on the other day, Dudley Dawson, thinks that Tennessee will have the edge in that third game. He said, I've watched Arkansas in these game threes all year. Now, that did not prove to be the case the last time Tennessee played them. But he said that's been a bugaboo for Arkansas as well, that rubber game. I don't know, Matt. Do the Vols have enough pitching to get through a third game with Arkansas? And does Arkansas have enough pitching to get through a third game with Tennessee? John might be right. They might be calling on whoever started the first game to go back out there and give me an inning or two at the end of the deal. Because I don't think the Coons guy's going to pitch this weekend, Matt. Everybody puts him up there as, I don't know that we see him, Matt. That's another thing I'm going to say out loud.
Oh, you didn't see him in the regionals, and that was a game more than, that was 4 games. So, I mean, for whatever reason, he didn't pitch in the regionals. It's hard to see a guy pitching in the supers, especially a guy that's been a starter all year.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can run a guy back out there if they throw over 100 pitches on just the 1 day rest. I mean, maybe you can. A lot of it dictates like how those games play out.
Yep.
In a weird way, if you're going to lose one of the first 2 of a series, you'd prefer to like get blown out so you don't use your high leverage arms in that game. And you can kind of save those where the team that's ahead can't necessarily do that. But, it's fat. I think Arkansas has more pitching depth now that they're healthy. But, Arvidsson and Russell coming along here down the stretch has been a big key and could help Tennessee a lot. It'll be fascinating. There's no real right or wrong answer, I don't think. And a lot of it, you really do have to see how it plays out the first game or two.
That's why I love baseball, because everybody's a better manager than the guy in the dugout. We all think we know. Of course, we're not around the guys. But I am better at it than Tony Vitello. Go ahead, Bri.
How can somebody be a Sunday starter all year for the most part and then not be called upon one time in a 4-game regional?
Well, I kind of think it's the nature of this sport, Brian, because the flip side of that is Brandon Arvidsson, who was an afterthought most of the season in Tennessee's bullpen. I mean, I never even thought about him as being a factor in postseason. And then he goes out in the SEC tournament against Texas and strikes out 9 in 5 1/3 innings, comes back. And I know he gave up some runs and some hits against Wake Forest, but he struck out 12.
Cool.
I was talking to Chris Burke about that. Chris Burke thinks he's one of the best relievers in the SEC now. That's the main guy he brought up when we're talking about the possibilities of this series. And one of the reasons he's so high on Tennessee right now, he thinks Brandon Arvidsson, really his pitching now tips the scales a little bit toward Tennessee. It might not have been there before, but he said, and remember, Chris Burke was quite a hitter when he played for Tennessee back in 2001. But he said the curveball Arvidsson throws, you can tell the hitters can't pick up the spin on it, and they know the pitch is coming, and they still can't hit it.
Well, if you guys think about that, think about yeah. Well,
yeah.
Go ahead. If you think about what you're saying, John, and what he's saying, and you factor in that Russell, they've kind of stretched him out recently. That's 2 arms going into Birmingham or Hoover that none of us thought they had, and we all know that our closer, it's been a struggle for him, but even he gave you some really good stuff over the weekend. If I'm an Arkansas fan and I'm looking at Phillips, and those people are knowledgeable about baseball, and then I know this Liam Doyle guy is like a total animal. Those people know that. Now, they've got 2 really, really excellent starting pitchers as well. They're 2 frontline guys. Gage Wood's a great pitcher, and the kid that's going to start Saturday's game is excellent as well. I'm not sure, Matt, they have the depth that we have. That if I was looking at that from an Arkansas perspective, that would really concern me. Now, they hit the baseball very well, but that would really concern me, what John's saying. Because all of a sudden, Tennessee's got some arms uploaded here at the end of the year, Tennessee's kind of they're in peaking mode here if they can do it. If they cannot make those mental errors that this team's made all year that's kept them from winning these games, they're almost in a really great spot here with the way their personnel's lined up for them. Am I talking myself into this, Matt? Is John and Berkey, are we talking ourselves into this, or is that real?
No, I think it is real, but Arkansas is also getting healthy on the mound too. I mean, they have, Gage Wood. I think he struck out 12 or 13 in the regional and was kind of unhittable. He's a first round guy that, I think he only started twice in league play because of injuries. He's coming back. They've had a couple of their bullpen guys have gotten healthy late. So both teams are actually probably better equipped pitching wise than just about any team remaining, which is, intriguing. And they unfortunately kind of have to match up against each other in, one of the more high profile supers. But I think both teams have more pitching depth than they get credit for, than the numbers say. It'll just come down to who can hit it better. Arkansas hits lefties really, really well, which is a little concerning with Arvidsson and how much they roughed up Doyle the first time, even though I think that there was something that Doyle was doing that was tipping his pitches that I think they've corrected.
Back to the phones we go. Yeah. Doyle, as competitive as he is, what's another crack at these guys? Tennessee was extremely comfortable hitting the baseball against them. I don't know why, but I feel like Bargo's going to hit the ball this weekend. Tony's not going to take him out of the lineup. John, I don't know how many coaches I've ever seen that Bargo and Chapman would still be in that lineup. I don't know how many coaches I've seen that would do that. But that's who this guy is. Nor would Curley be out there with a lot of guys. But he just kind of like, we're going to ride the ship. These are my guys. And it works out for him. I mean, it somehow works out for him. I mean, I think it's I'm not going to say miraculous. I think it's an excellent accomplishment to get back to the spot they're in. If they can win one game this weekend and extend this thing to 3 games, which are becoming 1 game away from getting back to Omaha, that's about as good as you can do without doing it. I think that would be one hell of an accomplishment to win a game this weekend. I'm not saying I'm happy with that, but I'm just kind of keeping it real here because most of these teams never get near that. That's that year after a natty.
Yeah, Tony, and the thing about it is, though, Tennessee, you couldn't have much of a much tougher situation for Tennessee than Arkansas in a super regional on its home field, and that goes back to the regular season mishaps Tennessee's had. But I think if you'd have there's some super regionals that Tennessee would be favored in right now even if it was on somebody else's home field.
No doubt about it. So you look for my parlay tomorrow. We hit it last week over at VIP Play. Go claim your welcome bonus when you go. Your first bet, $5 or more, $100 in bonus bets instantly. Promo code's TNTony. Again, TNTony, that's a promo code you want to use. We are lapping these jokers around the state. Thank you very little. And I appreciate the support. And listen, to my friends on Twitter, I'm not talking about everybody. But there's a few of you that need to get your head checked. But that's another story for another day because I'm in the middle of talking business. And speaking of which, tomorrow I'll have a 3-team parlay for you. I'm going to confine it to the baseball tournament. I'm taking advisement from several experts around who I will tweet today, like I did last week, and say, give me something you feel really good about. And I'm going to wrap it all into one, and we're going to see if we can create another winner for you because I feel like I'm on a roll right now. Brian Hartman feels like I'm on a roll. Brian Hartman texted me last night and he said, give me that parlay, Tony. Give me that parlay. I said, Brian, I'm still in the process of formulating it. Rome wasn't built in a day, to quote Jerry Green. I used to love when Jerry Green said Rome wasn't built in a day. Like somebody one time said that around Jerry Green. Rome wasn't built in a day. All right, let's move along here. Week 1 NFL lines and futures are now live. College football NFL season is right around the corner. if you can believe that. I mean, here we are. It's mid-June. It's right around the corner. Like we're talking 8 weeks away. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. So you can get a 10% profit boost on any NFL game week 1. You have a hankering to throw a bet in. Also, there are Vol Titan football specials live in the specials tab with offerings exclusive to VIP club members. Check it out. Also, remember, daily profit boost, 25% on Major League. Parlay profit boost, 3 picks or more. NBA playoff no danger wager, 50% of your stake back in bonus bet if your wager loses. 20% NCAA baseball tournament profit boost. 200 leagues, always live. Roland Garros, U.S. Open. Let's go. VIP play where everybody gets treated like a VIP. Gambling problem 800-889-9789. 21 and over. Located in the state of Tennessee to place a bet. Let's go. John, it's wild, man, to see college baseball this fun. I mean, I've been a sports fan for like ever. And you were in Louisiana for a long time, and you basically ignored college baseball. I had no idea it was this fun, dude. This thing is so fun.
Well, when I was in Louisiana, when I was in there 5 years covering, with the Baton Rouge paper, I was a columnist there and never went to an LSU baseball game. But I wasn't the only one who never went to an LSU game. They drew flies. I mean, it was very comparable to Tennessee's situation for such a long time. So there was no interest. But I left. I've mentioned this before. I left. I guess in June of '84, when Tennessee hired LSU hired Skip Bertman, and the program was never the same. It became a baseball dynasty. It's very similar to what's happened here with Vitello and the Vols. So and you then get to see what a good product this can be. But it wasn't. When I was in Baton Rouge, nobody ever thought anything about LSU baseball. If you wandered into Alex Box Stadium, you just did that. You wandered in. It was a slow day, and you just happened to be passing by. Nobody cared, and nobody cared about Tennessee baseball for a long time here. But now, it's at the top of the heap.
And it isn't just that they're winning; it's a very entertaining product. It's fun, man. And like you said out loud, I can't believe you would say it out loud because I think the same thing. I think it's as good as the NCAA basketball tournament right now. I'm sorry. Brian, did you say that earlier? Like, I can't believe that.
I think get the same feeling going into the baseball tournament that I do basketball now.
It's totally,
and that wasn't the case.
No, I know.
5-10 years ago.
Some of you are laughing at us for saying this, and I get it.
It's a second March Madness.
It's so fun. And I'm going to tell you how to think. But if you gave it a chance, really, like if you watch a series this weekend, you've never seen college baseball, and you turn that Arkansas series on, first of all, it will be aesthetically appealing. You'll go, God, that stadium's beautiful. Because it is a beautiful place. Secondly, you'll see all those morons dressed like with the hog hats on, and they look like a former well, never mind. So you when they start calling the hogs and doing all that thing and the pig nose and Miss Piggy's over there and this, that, and the other, but then the exit velos of these balls and how wild all that is. I mean, the whole thing is just so amazing. So amazing. So fun. So amazing. Let's go back to our phones. Can't believe it. Hello and welcome into our next call. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony. Greg here.
Greg, how you doing, brother?
Hey, doing fine, my man. Hey, before we get into the Arkansas game, I want to go back to the last Wake Forest game, guys. It just stays in my mind. It's been in my head ever since. Andrew Fisher pumping up the crowd. Hey, buddies, that's like a scene in a movie, pumping up the crowd. Then he goes into the batter's box, and he blasts one out of there. And the way he trots around the bases, hey, that's an Academy Award, in my opinion, brothers. I'm going to have that video on my Mac for the rest of my life. That just stands out. I've never seen it. What do you guys think?
John, what do you think from your perch? You ever see anything like that in sports?
That was pretty amazing. And you combine that with what Liam Doyle did. I mean, I can still see him waiting to go out there for his last inning. And his team is batting, and he's up there on the top step. He got his glove on, and it's almost like you're having to hold him back because he's going to run out there too soon. He was so eager. His performance, coupled with Fisher, it was Ruthian-like, calling his shots. It was pretty dramatic. And, Tony, I'm going to have to depart now. I've got to do an SEC podcast with Blake Topmeyer. So I'll talk to you later.
Now, how do folks hear that? Where do they hear your SEC podcast? Because Blake and you do a great job. Tell them.
Well, thanks. SEC Unfiltered, we do a weekly podcast. You can get it. It's on our website, knoxnews.com. And, we do it every week.
Tell Blake he's an absolute clown. Love you. Thank you.
See you guys. Have a good trip, Matt.
See you, John.
Hey, Greg, what do you think, man? You got that old feeling right now? Are we in this thing? What do you think? We in it to win it?
Baby, I tell you what, my feeling's back where it was earlier this year. And I've thought about it for a long time. Baseball, funny. It's a funny game. You can stop.
I agree with that. We just lost Greg. What's going on in here, Brian? What's going on with the phones, man? Any idea? Greg, are you there?
Coaches for sure want that to carry over. And after what happened Monday,
yep,
and the play from everybody in orange and white,
yep,
if that can carry over into their first game with Arkansas better watch out is all I got to say. That's like a team that's on a mission, team of destiny. I loved every second of it. Then I heard the Smokies let them come over and practice on.
Oh, and I was there last night for the ball game. That field, you could not tell that the Vols had gone through a practice there. I think they're going to do it again today. Hey, Matt, how about Tony Vols not leaving anything on earth and getting some workout on some grass and dirt and getting ready for that? Because I think that's a smart move, Matt. And in a bigger ballpark, too.
Yeah, it absolutely is a smart move, especially given our infield defense this year. So, no, that's kind of a heads-up move and makes a ton of sense. So,
and they really
and it's
went
easier
hard
to get to than their ass park was. So
yeah, and I was
right down the street.
I was there last night. I was talking to some folks from the Smokies. They said the Vols went hard yesterday. I mean, there was nothing. That was not a fun, jovial practice. They went hard yesterday in that stadium in preparation for what they're about to go through.
That's a good sign. You know, guys.
I think these guys think they have a real opportunity here.
You have a good practice, that also carries over. You have a shabby practice, usually.
Hey, Greg,
don't do you any good.
I've been meaning to ask you because you put it on our dial here. Okay. This kid from Walter State that just committed to Tennessee, what kind of player are they getting if he ends up here?
I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to bring it up.
Well, I give you your flowers, Greg. I give you your flower. I know you think I'm kind of a prick, but I give you your flowers,
man.
No,
I don't. No, I don't, man. Hey, I love it, brother. I love your show, man. You're not a prick. You're right there where I'm at. Same type of broadcaster I would be if I had a show every day. Great. I love it. The kid is just unbelievable. Walters has had great players year in and year out. They didn't come to Columbia this year, so I didn't broadcast their game. It was at Walters. But 2 years ago, I remember Myatt. The guy this year just was lightning. I mean, he was probably a shock to Coach Shelton with how he performed at the plate. 31 homers, over 100 RBI.
Hey, Matt, his numbers don't look real, do they, for college baseball?
No, even for the junior college level, they just look so incredible that, you know, I don't know if he's had a great year, if teams didn't know how to pitch him or what, but they look hard to be sustainable.
Hey, I was talking to somebody internally at Tennessee, and I was like, is that kid that good? And he said, what do you think? And I said, well, I'm asking you. So what, you ever seen anybody put up those kinds of numbers? I said, well, is that for real? Well, no, it's fake. I mean, they were like, of course it's for real. Now, they're worried about, you know, whether or not he gets drafted and ends up, you know, what ends up happening with him. But, man, it sure would be fun to see a kid like that get a season here, Greg.
Yes, sir, I agree. You know, and the thing about Tyler, he says he dreamed about putting on the orange and white uniform. So that right there, everybody's eyes ought to come wide open when he comes in there. Give him time to settle in. I mean, Walters this year and every year, they play about 60 games. They go to South Carolina. They go all over the country in that area, and they play all these great teams from all these other states. And they've lost a few, and they've won more. But he's seen all type of pitching, I'm telling you. So the SEC probably give him a little bit time to get kind of settled in. I'm putting out the home run record. Maybe not his first year. Hopefully he stays a couple of years. But if he gets in the rolling, you could see SEC home run record.
Thank you, my brother. Incredible. Incredible stuff there from Greg. Columbia. Let's go back to our phones at 865-200-5402. Mi nombre es Antonio. Y the TLD Logistic Hotline SS open. Matt, you wish we were playing tomorrow? Or are you glad we're getting an extra day?
I'm glad I'm getting an extra day. So yeah, I'm glad. I'm much rather play Saturday. Start on Saturday.
How many of our fans do you think make it?
Maybe 1,000, 1,500.
I love our people, man. I love our fans. I love our fans. I love our fans. Let's get our next call in. Hello and welcome. You're on the air.
Vamos Vols.
You got it.
I tell you what was also cool, who loves Vol Nation, is Liam Doyle. That was pretty cool how he signaled that heart right after closing out that game. That was next level. I didn't realize that's what he was doing when I was at the game, but saw the replay. That was next level, Tony, Matt, Brian.
I mean, a guy that's been here like, you know, a baseball season. And it's like Griffin Merritt told me after being here at Tennessee. He said, I look at my sports fandom like I've got dual citizenship. And a lot of these guys are going to identify as Tennessee fans going forward because that's a very special thing that happened in that building the other night.
Yeah, no doubt. Matt, glad to hear you're going to Baum Walker. What tipped it over to propel you to make that trip to Fayetteville? Excited to hear that.
Just that it'd be hard. It's just a hard thing to pass up when I was presented the opportunity to. So so it's a long drive, but it should be an incredible atmosphere and a whole lot of fun. So when I had the opportunity, I couldn't really say no.
I guess it's hard to pass up a super, hard to pass up one of the best, arguably maybe the best venue in college baseball. And obviously by ESPN putting that on, not the Deuce, but ESPN, as one of your callers said, ESPN1, Tony and Matt, and sending the Dream Team, Tom Hart, Berkey, and Kyle Peterson. The nation's eyes are going to be focused on Tennessee, Arkansas. It's a beautiful thing.
It's a celebration of the sport, man. Are you going down?
Yeah, Tony, I talked my wife into giving me a free pass. So yeah, I am. I told her I wasn't, but I couldn't resist. Kind of like Matt. Once stars aligned, and yeah, I've never been. I wanted to go during the regular season.
See, guys like you deserve that. Guys like you and Matt that live and breathe the sport. And that's why I reach out to Matt and I'm like encouraging him. I'm like, we've got the budget. Let's do it. And I encourage you guys who this thing really matters to. Man, you guys need to experience that. You really do. Y'all hardcores. I'm happy for you guys, man. Win, lose, or draw. I think it's a great thing to get to do that.
Well, you said the right thing, win, lose, or draw, right? This season is a A+ as far as I'm concerned, regardless of what happens out in Fayetteville. We talked about it, though. House money, Vols should be playing loose. I love the fact that they went and practiced at Smoky Stadium. As you noted, that stadium is a gem. Boy, Boyd and company just did a A+, #1 job with that venue. It's a jewel. And I do like the fact that it's natural grass. I do like the fact that it's bigger. Boy, it would be ironic. It would have been pretty cool if they could have matched the dimensions of Charles Schwab out in Omaha. That would have been kind of a neat little thing in our back pocket. But anyway, excited about Arkansas. Excited that Matt's going. Let's go cheer on the Vols. And wow, what an exciting time to be a baseball fan. And you guys keep up the fantastic coverage, GBO.
Yeah, and shout out to the Smokies because Dave Serrano's guys, they tried to back in the spring. They wanted to play in there because they were preparing for a tournament. And the stadium was kind of under construction then. But they're going to be open to letting like him use it for certain things. Tennessee use it from time to time. And Matt Toney has fought very hard against this, but I could foresee Tennessee playing some kind of tournament or them doing some kind of using both venues in some celebratory way for some event like early in the season. I know they've kind of talked about that. I'm not saying I know this is going to happen, so don't quote me on this. I'm not even like, I'm just kind of spitballing. I've been on the air too long when I start doing this. But it would not surprise me, Matt, if they came up with some kind of imaginative event to sort of cement this as a place where, we celebrate the sport. You bring in different teams from around the state in the college deal and play a little tournament. I think that'd be fun. Could you do something like that, Matt, and incorporate it into a schedule? Could you do something like that?
Well, yeah, they play those early season tournaments at venues across the country.
You're right.
So Tennessee could easily do that. If they didn't want to do it in the season, they could do it in the fall, like they do. But no, I think it would be a mistake not to do something like that. And there's plenty of really good and competitive teams that are easily within a day's drive of here that would be willing to come and play in some kind of 4 or 6 team round robin or double elimination, just whatever you want to do. I think it'd be a mistake not to do something like that in the future.
Because I would greatly encourage anybody that hasn't been to the baseball stadium, that's a baseball fan, to get out there and see that place. First of all, people talk about the parking is not a problem down there, not at all. The atmosphere in that place is terrific. The sight lines are absolutely next level. As the night sky fell, it's a beautiful place. And I mean, it's a beautiful place to see a baseball game. The scoreboard, the amenities, everything about it. They have done just a wonderful job there. And the thing I love about the Smokies and the Vols is they have this hand-in-hand partnership where Chris Allen and them, Craig Jenkins, they've been able to thread that needle. Eris and their entire crew there, they've been able to thread the needle where they work hand-in-hand with Tennessee, Matt, down through the years, the bobblehead dolls, letting Tony and those guys have the facility to practice on a game day, Matt. Not an off week. Not an off week, Matt, but a game day. So let's think about that for a second. And then when the game began last night, you could never have been able to tell that another team was in there practicing on their field. But Tennessee had a practice on their field. I mean, it's I hope they work together. I hope they come up with some stuff because I think that would be a really, really fun deal if they were able to do that. Have their own little event.
It's a really good partnership to have.
Yes,
especially with him moving back here.
It's huge.
To do a lot of cross promotional stuff,
yep.
and obviously the two venues, and it being literally right next to campus.
Could they host an SEC baseball tournament there?
I mean, sure, Bri.
They're not moving that out of Hoover.
I mean, they could, but Matt's right.
But you can take full advantage of it. They've done it with that Appalachian League that they've recruited guys in. I think they got Bargo out of that.
Yes.
That helped them get him. So any kind of partnership with the Smokies is beneficial to the Tennessee baseball.
By the way, that begins today. That the Appy League begins today. I think they have 6 teams. Because I saw Chris last night in the elevator, and he was no offense to you, Chris, but he looked roached. And I said, man, what are you doing? He said, oh, man, we start tomorrow, and I got to run all this stuff up there, and we got to run it, and you got this thing I forgot, and you got this over here. And I'm sitting there going, you know what, Chris, when I get to where I'm going, I'm going to take about 3 Advil in your honor. I mean, because I wouldn't imagine how much stuff goes into trying to pull off what they're pulling off, but they've kept baseball alive in those short season A towns, in those ballparks throughout Appalachia. And I'm for that, not against that. I celebrate that. And we celebrate that. And like Matt said, and I was talking to Tony about it, it's a tremendous edge to them to have these kids in their backyard. Because whether you play here now or play here later, it gives you an opportunity to look at different guys. Maybe you don't take them all, or take any, but it's just it's another piece of the welcome mat in the collegiate game to say, hey, we're a premier spot. So, and in a short amount of time, they've grown the amount of talent that's in that league. It's pretty good baseball in that league. So, I don't know where they are on the pecking order, but it's pretty good baseball that's being played in that league. You guys have any final thoughts? Matt, will you have a full report tomorrow over at tclub.team for this event? Are you all hands on deck on this thing?
Yeah, I don't know how full it will be, but I will definitely have a report. I've got a whole lot of stuff to get done. Before this weekend, since we're kind of unexpectedly going out of town. But nice. I will file something. But it will be, it won't be a great full couple thousand word breakdown. But I'll certainly have a bunch of numbers and a good rundown of Arkansas.
Brian Hartman, are you tapped out, or is there more in your quiver?
I am tapped out, and I'm going to yield that space to Dixie.
So I'm going to tell you something. Brian Hartman this week, and me and Matt were talking about this. Brian Hartman's in Fuego right now. He's in hyperspace. He's like in an altered state. I mean, Ken Kesey didn't even conceive of places where Brian Hartman's gone with his coverage this week. I mean, come on. Owsley has no idea, has nothing on Brian. The heights that Brian Hartman's reached this week.
Do you think anybody actually read what I wrote?
What?
I'm doubting anybody really read it.
What? Thousands of people read it, Brian. I've had so many people say, you've heard people on the air say, Taylor, just now, thank you for the coverage. Everybody's reading it, Brian. That blog is read by thousands and thousands and thousands of people a day. Are you kidding?
Or they skim right over it.
Matt, why would he say that about himself? Why would that guy say that about himself? It's not true, Matt, is it?
I don't know. That's a really bad way to end the show, Brian. You got to end the show on a positive note.
Yeah, Brian, you're urinating me off over here. I mean, Owsley could not ascend to the high heights that you've ascended to this week. Thank you, boys. Appreciate you. Till we meet again, I want to thank TLD Logistics. They're online at tldlogistics.com. I wish Matt Dixon a safe trip. I look so forward to his coverage. It's going to be unbelievable, Andy. And I'm so glad he's getting a chance to do that. And he deserves an opportunity to go do that. And this baseball team, this is a fun ride, and I hope it continues. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Tomorrow, Bino's going to be with us, but listen anyway. We're going to be live at Calhoun's on the River tomorrow. Come down, support us, see the show. Shake the hand, share the land. We look forward to seeing you. If you're in the area, I'd love to see you. If you're on vacation, I'd love to see you. If you're out and about, I'd love to see you. We'll be down there from 11 Eastern to 1. Till we meet again, for all those behind the chains, my name's Basilio. Thank you to TLD Logistics online at tldlogistics.com. Peace. Gotta hit it. Love you. GBO. Take Bino. I sure hope Bino comes correct tomorrow and he isn't a negative ninny. Oh, no. I don't think we have a chance. Oh, no. Let's see here. Let's run today's show back, shall we? Ba 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 ba. Ba da 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 da.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
All right, let's do this thing. Tony Basilio and Hughes, we welcome you in. It's a John Adams Thursday presented by Jennifer Morris. Next move, SmokyMountains.com. She of Keller Williams. John, great to talk to you, my friend. Long time no talkie. Hope you're doing well. Oh.
Different to me.
Sound different?
Yes.
Brian, do I sound different to you?
I can't detect that, but
all right. Matt Dixon, do I
it
sound...
It could be the connection. It could be I have a different type of connection here.
Matt Dixon, do I sound different to you?
No, you sound about normal.
All right.
Normal's not normally associated with Tony, but I think it must be my connection because all three of you sound different.
Oh. Now the truth comes.
I think I may need to sound different, so that's a good thing.
Now the truth. You sound great, bro. And John sounds great. Matt sounds great. We all sound great. We all scream for ice cream. And this is fun, y'all. Got Mike Rooney on today, a.k.a. Adam Gold of ESPN fame, who, Matt, does anybody eat, breathe, sleep college baseball like this guy this side of Berkey?
No, not at all.
This cat's kind of serious. Yeah, this guy's kind of serious